Hi everybody and welcome back. I think today's video is going to be called Random Acts of Cooking Day. I'm doing a lot of different things with, it may seem like with no rhyme or reason, but I've got a number of things that I'm making today. It's kind of a big batch cooking day right off the bat. I'm cooking some things for myself, food prep wise. I'm making some food prep for the rest of my family for their work week. It's just a little bit of everything. So here's what we've got on tap. I am going to be making a new batch of cowboy beans because they were so popular, they are gone. So yeah, we're going to be making that. And I'm going to be making up a stir fry for myself. I'm going to do cabbage and mushrooms. I'm going to be doing some zucchini, some broccoli, but then I'm also going to be making a guacamole, basically, just for myself to put on sandwiches or to use with pitas, that kind of thing. So I've got tomatoes, I've got some limes over there, I've got some onions, and I'm also, oh, they're my little avocados right there. And I'm also going to be making a tzatziki, so I can have that for the week. So I've got some cucumbers here, my plain Greek yogurt. I'm going to be making some roasted red potatoes with rosemary. I'm going to be doing breakfast burritos. I'm going to be doing fun stuff. I'm also going to be, like I said, I'm making the cowboy beans, so I'll need some extra ground beef. I'm roasting some chicken for myself for salads, sandwiches, the pitas that I mentioned. We're going to be dicing and cooking up some potatoes for those breakfast burritos. I told you, random acts of cooking. Here we go. And I still have in my tote bag, which is kind of ironic that I'm using a Walmart tote bag when I make tote bags all the time. I don't have one for myself. I've got another quart of chicken stock for the cowboy beans. I went ahead, pulled some extra bacon from the freezer, and I've got 3 of these guys for the breakfast burritos. I've got my pan going, and I'm about ready to go. This right here, funny story. I was seasoning, this is cast iron, the lid is cast iron, yeah. But I noticed that the edges needed to be redone because they were starting to rust just a little bit. So I got them good and cleaned and stripped down and put my lard on there to season the edge of the cast iron, put it in the oven, and then it promptly ran all the way down and left these marks all the way inside the pan. I did try to scrub it out, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's clean, but that's just where I seasoned it, and it's kind of funny. The same thing happened to the lid over here. It kind of dripped a little bit because this, of course, is a raw edge of cast iron, and I needed to treat it really well too because it had started to kind of get discolored and rusted too. So I got it cleaned, and the edges are nice and seasoned, but it was just kind of funny how, despite my best efforts, it's still migrated down. So yeah, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. I have some seasoned ground beef here that I've thawed out. I have this itty bitty amount of bacon here. I just didn't think it was enough. So like I said, I went ahead and got another portion out of the freezer. And we're going to get started here. Yeah, we got quite a bit to do. So I hope you're in the mood to put your feet up, get comfy, and watch me get some cooking done, and we'll visit and have a good time. I'll be back shortly. Okay, we got the ground beef going, and I have moved some things around. And I forgot that I had to get some vacuum sealed pork chops out to defrost. And I also am going to be heating up some of the casseroles that we made together for road food for the week. So yeah, a couple more things added to the mix. I've got the oven heating up, and I'll be ready to go on that pretty soon. Be right back. Okie doke, I now have drained the fat off the ground beef, which is hiding back over there in a Ziploc bag. So the ground beef is drained and sitting over here. I started the bacon for the cowboy beans. I have in here our chicken and rice casserole. Over here, I've got the taco casserole that will go in after that one. I have gotten a cake out of the freezer to defrost for the weekend. I've gotten the pork chops out for the weekend to defrost. Those will go in the fridge. And the chicken, I'm actually going to have to use a microwave to defrost because I'm actually making that for food for myself. I've got the sausage that I need defrosting in cold water. And now I'm about ready to start dicing potatoes on my handy dandy gadget over here. I've got a bowl and some water so I can soak the cubed potatoes and get some of that excess starch off, because that's always a bonus when you're trying to get a really good, nice color and crisp on your potatoes. It keeps them from being gummy and speeds up the crisping process. It really does. So that's probably going to be my next step, and I have emptied out the dishwasher. So I am ready to go on that, and I can start loading with the little bit I've got here. And I'm off to the races. I'll be right back. Okay, our bacon is almost done. You can see that beautiful color on the bottom down here. We want that. Like I said, I don't want the bacon too crispy, just like when I made it the last time, because you don't want really hard bits in the cowboy beans. So, yep, I'm going to start pulling this. And then the next step is we're going to throw those onions in and deglaze this pan and get all that beautiful fond off the bottom. So I'll be right back. Now, the other thing I wanted to share with you is that, yes, I do have bacon grease in here. I'm going to leave probably just a teaspoon of that in there, but I am going to take the excess out. I have a container for that in the refrigerator. And then once I'm down to just a bare teaspoon of bacon fat, then we're going to throw those onions in. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I did leave just a tiny bit of bacon grease in there. I put the rest in my container over here. And I've got my onions right here. They're open. I'm going to go ahead and put them in. I turned the heat down, though. We don't want these to cook fast. I want the onions to go more low and slow so that all of the moisture can come out of them, get into this pan, and pick up all that beautiful brown bits that we've managed to get. I got the majority of them there. And all I'm going to do at this point is just kind of work these onions around. See how it's steaming and all of that beautiful brown bits are coming off the bottom there. It's glorious. So after I finish scraping the bottom of this pan, I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat back up to about medium. And we're going to continue on forward. We're pretty much at the assembly stage. Now the hard stuff is done and we can move forward. So I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. The onions look pretty good. I'm going to take all the ground beef, which is about 2 pounds fully cooked. All the fat's been taken off. I'm going to give this a nice stir. And I'm going to take some of the bacon. I haven't decided. It's a pretty good amount, so I'm probably just going to take a couple handfuls. Yeah, we're going to put some more in there. Okay. So there's a little bit left for snacking, I suppose. But yeah, that's a good amount right there. Get that out of the way. Maybe I can bring you in a little bit closer. Having some technical difficulties in my itty bitty kitchen. So I can lower you down. That's a little bit better. Okay. So the onions are done. The ground beef has been added back in. We've got our bacon in here. Now I'm going to add probably about half a quart of chicken stock. I love the smell of chicken stock. It's so good. And so there's about half of that right there. I'm going to turn my heat up just a tad. Oh, so I'm like, I lost my spoon. No, it's in the pot. Okay, so the chicken stock has loosened it up nicely. I'm going to grab the pinto beans. Now, I brought up last time when I made it for the first time, I said I was going to use 2. I actually ended up using 3. So I'm going to start with 2 and see if we need that 3rd one. I also have my can of Bush's baked beans that I'm going to use. That smells good. They just smell good. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Okay, I'm debating about draining. I'm going to drain a little bit, I think. Maybe just a tad. So this is the first one. I just drained the liquid off the top. I'll use my spoon to get in here. Okay, looks pretty good. Can give that a mixy mix. Now I haven't added anything but salt in this, and that was just when I was cooking the ground beef. I seasoned it with salt. This is just the onions, ground beef, bacon, and then the first jar of beans. So, I missed a bean. Hang on, we got it. Okay, that's a good consistency right there, but clearly I need more beans. So, I will be right back with you here. Okay, so I opened the baked beans. I'm going to go ahead and add this can, I think. Let me do this here. Now this one I'm not going to drain, okay? I want some of that juice in there. I'm going to put, I know I started with half last time, and I just kind of wanted to see how it looked. I don't know, that looks pretty good, guys. It does look pretty good at that. I know I don't have any seasonings in it, but I'll add a couple of spoons here for tasting. The consistency's good, as you can see. So it's a little loose, but again, like last time I was telling you guys that you want a little looser because once it refrigerates, it's going to seize up. So, I don't know, that's pretty good. And that's without seasoning. Hang on. Let me open some more jars. Okay. Because I want to make a good sized batch, I think we're going for it. Okay. There's always that one bean that doesn't want to come out. It's always like that one guy at the party that doesn't want to go home. Okay. So because I added that, oh, that's nice and thick and beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of these, just like I did last time. And this can of Bush's baked beans, I believe, is a 16-ounce can. It should be. No, 28-ounce can, my bad. I can do math. No problem. Okay, so we've added that. I am going, oops, don't flip it out. About flipped it out of the pan entirely. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more of my stock to loosen it up because I do want it to simmer, so it needs to be a little thin. I'm going to reserve this because I have a feeling I am going to need it down the road. Let's see here. Okay, so let's grab our seasonings. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have got all my spices here. I'm going to give this a stir. And put in my onion. This is such a fine powder. Trying to get it to go in is almost ridiculous. I've got the rest of my chili powder here. You're probably looking at a tablespoon each of these things, maybe 2. Or in that case, 3. Okay. Some garlic. More onion powder than garlic. I find the onion powder really brings out the flavor of beans. It's like when you do ham and bean soup, and that flavor it gets, it's from onion powder. It's from that guy right there. Okay, I've got some cumin here. I'm going to go light on the cumin. I would say about a teaspoon. I'm going to use about half that. Okay. All right, and I'm going to give it a stir. And again, my heat is only on medium. Nothing crazy. No need to go there. For the time being, when I did my little test before I started adding the spices to it, I didn't feel that it needed any salt because remember there's salt in that bacon. So I'm going to let it rip for a little while, let those flavors come together and be happy and productive. And I'm going to put the lid on this, and then we're going to get started on some of the other things. And I'm about ready to check the casserole that's in the oven heating up. So I'll be right back. Okay, so got our potatoes going here. The cowboy beans I moved over to the other large burner that I've got because we're going to be needing that burner. Plus I may have to break out the alternate burner that I've got just to make room for everything that I've got to do here. So basically with these, you cut the potatoes however thick you want your cubes to be, and then you put them on your grate like so. Sorry for the loud noise. And boom, you've got little cubes. So makes it nice. It does make it go a lot faster. You're only making one slice and then you're just kind of off to the races. So I'm going to keep going with this and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so I've gotten the potatoes good and diced. I rinsed them and then I put them back in some fresh water to keep soaking. Keep getting that extra starch off. And I have the beans over here simmering nicely, and now I'm going to go ahead and get the potatoes. Well, I was going to do them first, but you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to start the sausage because all I need to do is break that up and crumble it and get it browned. And then I can take the fat from the sausage and cook the potatoes in that. So I think I will do that, and I will be right back. Alrighty, I have already drained the ground beef and I've got my skillet good and hot, and I'm going to dump these potatoes, and I'm going to let them drain for just a second. All right. Alrighty. Okay, so I've got my potatoes in. I'm going to go ahead and give them a preliminary salt. Probably about a tablespoon. And I'm going to let them actually cook a little bit before I put my other seasonings on. Because we've got a ways to go on these guys. So they're in, skillet's hot. There's just enough fat left, probably about 3 tablespoons of fat left in the pan. The potatoes will need that easily. So that's not an issue there. And our cowboy beans look really, really good. I'd say they're done. I'll give it a final taste test here, but I would say that they're pretty much done. So that will be one dish done. We've almost got our potatoes ready to once they're done cooking, we'll have that done. And then all I'll have to do is cook the eggs and assemble breakfast burritos. And I've got one casserole cooked through. The second one is already in the oven. And gosh, everybody, we're looking pretty good. I'm going to probably keep a close eye on the potatoes here. I'm going to turn the heat off over here on the cowboy beans, or turn it down at least till I can get to them. And I'm probably going to take a break, load the dishwasher, and get ready for the next wave of mayhem in the kitchen. So I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the part where I discovered my microphone died. And I also discovered it died on the next 3 clips that I filmed too. So, but it's all good. What you see here is I'm working on the egg portion of when I was making the breakfast burritos. And usually what I use is about 14 eggs. And as you can see right here, I'm just taking the whisk and I'm breaking up the yolks. And it just makes it easier to whisk, and it kind of gets everything moved together. And you can see that I'm whisking, but I'm not overly whisking. I'm not adding milk. I'm not adding cream. It's just the eggs and the whisk to break them up, because they'll get broken up, further in the pan as they cook. I'm not one to add a lot of crazy things. I will add a little bit of salt, as you saw. That's about it. I'm pretty much the only person in the house who uses freshly ground cracked black pepper. I enjoy it occasionally, even I don't use it that much. And here, as you saw, I used about a pat of butter for the entire thing. 14 eggs, 1 pat of butter, not very much. I just pour them into the pan here, and basically, some people like to use wooden spoons and that kind of thing. I like the spatula. I use a nonstick skillet, and I like the spatula because it can really get the eggs lifted off the surface of the pan. And it's more uniform than, say, like a wooden spoon where you can miss bits that could overcook and stick and that kind of thing. And the other thing that I was talking about in here while I was doing this is that you don't want to go too far away from your pan because it tends to cook pretty quick. It's on medium heat, as I said, and really no more than a minute in between stirring. I mean, I've varied in the past saying, a minute and a half. You could even go 2 minutes. On medium heat, I think you'd be pushing it for real. You really don't want it to go that long because then the eggs begin to set up too much and they begin to resemble an omelet versus scrambled eggs. So that's just me moving things around. You can see that as the eggs cook, some of them, they kind of pillow up and they're soft. They have a really nice look to them. They're fluffy. But as you move them around, you will break them up a little bit more. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm saying in this clip right here, right at this moment. I think I'm talking about don't walk away and leave your pan. But yeah, I'm talking about the heat and how to not let them get too overcooked. But that's basically it. You're just letting them gradually cook, and I usually stop when they're just about done. When you can see like the whites, they're set, but they're not hard set, and I think you know what I mean by that. They're not runny by any stretch, but that residual heat will continue to cook your eggs, so you kind of want to stop a little bit before you're happy with them being done for you, because they're going to continue cooking. So yeah, that's about it. We're moving on to the next phase, and I believe that is assembly. But for right now, I'm just finishing up these eggs, and then I think we will be right back after these short messages. Well, I'm back, everybody, and this is the second clip where I did not have a microphone. Now I'm using my big microphone, and I want to apologize up front for any audio issues. I'm having a really hard time between different microphones, trying to get ones that really, really work and the audio quality is good. I appreciate all of your patience very, very much. And as you can see right here, I am in the assembly stage of making the breakfast burritos. Excuse me. And basically, very straightforward. I have the sausage mixture, I've got the potatoes mixture, the eggs, and then I've got my cheese, and I've got my tortillas. And I do use a plastic wrap to wrap each of the finished burritos individually, and then I store them in a gallon Ziploc bag, and then that goes in the freezer. But it's a pretty quick assembly, where I always start with sausage, then the potato, then the eggs, then the cheese, and attempt to roll it. I've never been known or accused of making small burritos, that's for sure. Pretty much all of my burritos look like footballs. I'm proud of that. Now, they tend to freeze really well. They last really well. I have never had a problem freezing these up to 8 months. As long as they are wrapped individually and then stored in a Ziploc bag, you squeeze out any excess air, obviously. And use a freezer Ziploc bag to do that. You'll get, the sturdier the bag, the more life you're going to have out of your product. It will inhibit from getting any air and that kind of thing in there. It really helps with Homestead frostbite, with freezer burn on your finished products. This is just a real quick recording of me showing you the finished product. We've got all of our burritos made. I think we ended up with 8 of them total. They're all individually wrapped. They're going to go in gallon bags and into the freezer, and they heat up in about 2 minutes flat in the microwave. Super cinchy and super good. Alrighty, what I've done is I got the potatoes done. Now the potatoes, they're not done. They are seasoned. They've got rosemary and salt on it. I'm going to roast these first for about 20 minutes. Then I've already prepared my broccoli, which I will go ahead and put next to them and then finish the cooking process, because these will only take about 15 minutes. These are going to probably take about 35 minutes or so, maybe 40. I roast mine between 350 or 375. Tonight's 375, so it may only take about 30 minutes, but that broccoli is not going to take that long. So I'm going to go ahead and start these guys, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I pulled out an onion. This guy is a little questionable. It's kind of old, but we're going to bust it open together and see what's happening with it. Keep an eye on me, guys. I'm getting tired. I'm getting goofy. So I just slice around, hit it with my knife, and hopefully, yep, pop that pit right out. I do not save I'm not growing avocados. It's my understanding, now, I don't know for sure, but it's my understanding that avocado trees take quite a long time before they start producing fruit. And it's like fruit trees. I really want to grow fruit as well, but I don't know, the wait time. The wait time is difficult. And I also have to be careful where I plant on our property, because I do not want to cause shade issues with the existing garden. And that some of the trees, like cherry trees, and I mean, they get pretty gosh darn big. All right, let's see if we can get this guy open up. And there we go. And thankfully, they all ripened in time. Ah, that's okay. Bobby Flay does that. He gets it on the knife, the pit on the knife, and then he squeezes it this way, and it just magically pops right off for him. I just about cut my thumb almost. Yeah, I'm going to do it my way. Bobby Flay can do it his way. I'll do it my way. What I do is I just slice down the avocados, just kind of haphazardly, I guess, and just to loosen them. And then I come through with a spoon and I just dig out the actual flesh of the avocado and pop it in a bowl here. And that's pretty simple for the most part. And I just keep going with them. As soon as I've got all of these in the bowl, I'm going to break out a potato masher and go to town on them and get them all mooshed. I'm going to add my lemon juice to keep them from turning that awful brown color that those things like that usually do. I wonder if I can just do it. Now, it gets a little harder if you don't cut them first. All right. I have learned a valuable thing. And what I put in my guacamole is very simple. Of course, avocados, and then I dice up fresh tomatoes, and I do seed them out so that you don't have all that excess water, because that's really a problem. Tomatoes like that will continue to leach water, so seeding them out, you get the nice tomato in there, but you don't get all the water and mushiness that follows. And I put onion and fresh garlic, and I'm not actually sure if I have any fresh garlic left. I may end up having to use a little powdered garlic. And then plenty of salt, because avocados literally have no, well, they have flavor, but man, they're bland. They are just so bland. So I use just those basic ingredients. I throw in some lime juice, and I don't generally do spicy guacamole. I just kind of keep it simple, and then I just kind of snack on it all week. So that's about there. I'm going to go ahead, as far as how much lemon juice, about that much. About I would say 3 tablespoons. And okay, I currently do not have a potato masher because I used it in the sausage. So I'm going to have to take a quick break and clean my potato masher, and I'll be right back. Okay, we now have a potato masher. So we're looking much better here. I just give them a squish, very technical term, and kind of get them broken up enough that I can start adding things to them. I don't like particularly chunky guacamole. I don't want it to be baby food, but, you know, I don't like huge pieces. It's just the way I was kind of grown up. So it's more of a, you know, what I'm used to as a kid. That's what I grew up with. So that's probably pretty good right there. It's already got some lemon juice in there. I'm going to go ahead and throw in some salt, and I'm probably going to do that. Just a teaspoon for right now. And then we're going to break out our tomatoes, and I'm thinking it's a small batch. I'm probably just going to do 1 tomato real quick, if I can get it ready to go here. Now, I know that you can use a serrated knife if you like. It does prevent bruising, but in this particular application, it doesn't matter because it's going right into the guacamole. And I keep it pretty simple. I just cut them into quarters, and if the quarters are a little big, I cut those down again too, like this guy. That's still a little bit big. Try not to cut myself in the process. And I am going to... let's just grab some paper towel, and I'm just going to take the same spoon that I used on the guacamole, and I'm just going to go underneath all this pulpiness and take it out. And then we just have that, and that's what we're going to cut up and put in our guacamole. So super simple. You don't need a knife to do this. Matter of fact, I would kind of recommend not doing that. That way you don't cut yourself. There's really, a spoon is more than adequate to get the insides of your tomato out. And just go around it, just like that. Except I keep putting the wrong pieces. The pulp goes over here, the finished pieces go over there. It's getting late, and I was actually sick yesterday, so I'm not really on my game as much as I should be. So, oopsie, almost did it again. But anyway, it's just that simple. Just taking out the pulp, basically, and then this can go away. And all I do with this at this point is I take these little wedges and I just cut them into strips and just dice them up. Super easy. And I like this because frequently, at least where I'm at, the avocados have been a decent price, like $1 each, or for a while there, they were actually like 50 cents each. But $1 is fine. It's not, I've seen them incredibly high, like $4 each. So basically what I was getting at is that this is kind of an economical dish to make. And, you know, you can do the avocado toast route or just include it in like a sandwich, or like I'm going to do with pitas. And of course, good old chips. Nothing beats a good chip with guac. And it's just really yummy. It's very good for you too. I mean, out of all the things that we could eat, oh, I missed one. What did I just say about using a knife? I missed one. Anyways, I'm going to cut that into a strip. But yeah, out of all the things that you can eat, avocados are fantastic for you. They're very nutritious, and then you're throwing in onions and garlic and tomatoes, and I mean, you just really can't go wrong. So we've got that. And that's probably all I need for that masher. We're going to throw our tomatoes in. And we already added a little bit of salt. I'm going to get the onion prepped and add that. And with this size of an onion, it's a pretty good sized onion. I would do like half. If you like a lot of onion, do half. But when it's a large onion, it's going to be pretty powerful. So do a quarter to half, whichever you prefer. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to get that onion ready. And then we're going to add some garlic. And then we've got guac. The timer on the potatoes is ticking away. And we're down to 8.5 minutes. And then the timer goes off. We throw in our broccoli and finish roasting. Probably another 15 to 20 minutes. Probably 15. And I think we're going to be done for the night. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, so the guacamole is done. I have 4 limes over here. The first one I picked up. And all I do is I roll them out to loosen up the juice, and then I quarter them, is all I do. And then I squeeze them in. The first one was so juicy, I don't need to add any more. It gave off a ton. Itty bitty guy. And man, I got like a half a cup of juice out of that thing. And then I just went ahead and used just a dash of garlic powder. I've mixed everything really well together. Got a chip. Oops, as I break the chip, we're going to try it here. I would say that's pretty good. It does need a little bit more salt though. That is good though. I can really taste the lime. It's so good. Wow. Okay. Let's try the rest of my little BB chips that I have left. BB chip. Yeah. Oh, broccoli's ready to go in. That's really good. I would say that is a winner. Okay, let's get that broccoli started. I'll be right back. All right, so our potatoes are about halfway done. So yeah, about another 20 minutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my broccoli over on this side. And I'm going to grab... Yep, that's what I'm going to grab. Oh, couldn't find my olive oil there for a second. And I'm just going to drizzle over the top. It's about the end of my bottle right there. I need to refill it. Okay, so let's see here. Grab our salt. Give it a good dose of salt. About a teaspoon, I would say. And I'm actually not going to mix it up. I'm going to let it just kind of sit here. Make sure everybody's kind of nicely spread out. And now I'm going to put it back in the oven for 20 minutes. And then the potatoes will be done. The broccoli will be done. And I'm going to be done because I am tired. So I will get that going. And when I check back in with you, it should be tomorrow. Have a great night, and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. We are down to just the last couple of little things, and they're so easy and straightforward. I wanted some chicken just to have it cooked so I could add it to my pita sandwiches or salads or the vegetables that I made, the roasted broccoli and the roasted red potatoes. So all I'm going to do is, this was frozen chicken from the pantry freezer, and I'm just going to take it out. And there's 4 pieces in here, perfect for me for the week. And I'm just going to season this up. It's that simple. Let me wash my hands and I'll be right back. Okie doke. Got my hands washed so they're good and clean. And all I'm going to do, this is super simple. I'm going to cheat like the Dickens, and I'm going to use my Poultry Magic and Paul Prudhomme. I always forget how to pronounce his last name. Excellent chef. He was a wonderful, wonderful chef and a very nice man too. But put out a very, very, very good line of seasonings. The Seafood Magic I use a lot. I'm currently out of that though, but I do have some of my Poultry Magic, and it's supposed to be good on pork too. I actually have used it on, what did I use it on? I used it on fish. And it was still really, really good. So, yeah. So, I'm going to start by just liberally doing the underside of each piece. This also has salt in it, okay? So, if you don't like a lot of salt, or if you're watching your salt intake, you don't want to add any other salt, just use this. And if you do add more salt, be super careful and use it very sparingly, because this actually has a great amount of flavor just by itself. So that's all I'm going to do there. I'm going to flip them, and I've got my oven heated to 375, and all I'm going to do is roast these babies. Ooh, gosh, 30 minutes. I'm going to use a meat thermometer. We want the internal temperature to be about 165 because you will have carryover cook time. Don't forget that. So I'm just going to hit my other side here. Yes, I'm going to be liberal with it. And it goes in the oven. So I will be right back. Okie doke, I got the timer set on the chicken. I had gotten out the olive oil actually to use with the chicken before I put it in the oven, but honestly it didn't need it. It wasn't dry, it wasn't going to stick. I'm like, all right, it's good. So I just left it as is. But now I'm going to go on to probably the easiest hack for making Greek tzatziki sauce that you're going to come across. Typically, the tzatziki sauce is, of course, made with the Greek yogurt, and it's made with cucumber and fresh herbs and all the goodness. Cucumber is very high in water content, and you have to, typically, I think one of the recipes is you actually take the cucumber and you grate it, and then you salt it and put it in a container with another container underneath it, or paper towels or something, and you let the water seep out overnight, which is great. I've done that too. What I'm going to do though is I'm actually going to cheat. I'm actually going, because I prefer the flavor this way, I'm just going to make rounds. I'm just going to slice rounds very simply. I'm going to cut off the end, and I'm not even actually going to cut off the opposite end, because I'm only going to cut off what I think I'm going to use in the next day or two, wrap up the remainder when I'm ready, cut into that as well. And that way also, I don't have to spend an entire extra day eking out any excess moisture. And I've got these in a separate little bag that I can throw, again, into my pita sandwiches or a salad or just for a quick snack. Even though they're high in water content, cucumbers have an amazing amount of nutrients for you. So they're really, really good. So actually, that's all I'm going to do to my cucumber. Just this right here. Slice off some rounds for anything I want to use for, and I can use them as an actual dip once it's done. And I think actually I'm going to really kind of dig that. It's convenient, and it's kind of one-stop shopping for your cucumber. You don't have to mess with it. You can just slice off a bunch of rounds and nibble as you go, and I really love that. So I'm going to put the remainder of my cucumber in a little zippy bag, and I'm going to put my little rounds in a zippy bag, and then we're going to make the easiest Greek sauce you've ever seen. It's not difficult even if you do it authentically. It just, you need more fresh ingredients that I currently do not have. So all I'm going to do with that is I've got my yogurt, and I just use Stonyfield or any of the really good, like I keep saying the word authentic Greek, but I don't like, let's put it this way, I don't like using your common name brand yogurts like Dannon or Yoplait. I don't even really trust or like, I think it's Faye yogurt. There's one brand called Too Good yogurt, and that is my hands down favorite. I do have trouble finding it just plain. You can often find it with vanilla flavored, but I actually prefer just plain because I use it in savory. I use yogurt a lot more in savory instances than I do for sweet ones. Now I'm going to do probably about a cup and a half out of this big container. And then we're going to add our spices and seasonings. So it is this simple. Dill, onion powder, garlic powder, and salt. Yeah, it's that simple. And here's my salt. Get that brought over. I'm going to start with, I'm going to do salt last, basically, is what I'm going to do. So probably about a teaspoon of the onion powder. And about the same with the garlic. Yes, you could use fresh, no problem. That's about a half teaspoon of the garlic, because powdered garlic for me has a much different flavor profile than fresh. And it can be pretty obnoxious if you use too much of it. It is just very overbearing. And yeah, don't particularly care for that flavor if you get too heavy-handed. And then I'm just going to take my dill, and this is dill weed. Yes, you can use fresh dill, obviously. But the dill weed, I prefer. It's dried. It'll last forever. And I am planting dill this year, as you well know. So this is pretty exciting. Now the dill, half teaspoon. Pretty much because dill, like powdered garlic, can get overbearing. I mean, I love the flavor of dill. I do. But the thing about this, that those spices and seasonings, they will amplify over time. So stop seasoning when you taste it and it's like, yeah, it's okay. That's pretty good. Next day is going to be like, oh my gosh, that is so good. Because just like, I swear, like any stew or soup or chili, you know how things always taste better the next day? Well, same. Same with things like this. So I'm literally going to stop there with my other seasonings. Let me rinse my yogurt off my finger. And all I'm going to do is I'm only going to add about a pinch of salt. Now, I love salt as much as the next person, but again, about a quarter teaspoon of salt only, because by tomorrow, it's going to be pretty darn good. I'm going to give it a little test. That's pretty good right there. Okay, so I'm at that stopping point. Now, I get to use my finger because I'm the only one that's going to eat this. We're into the realm of making food for myself. So double dipping and getting it on my fingers is fine because I'm the only one eating it. So I can do what I want. All right, so that's done. So, another meal completely done. And I can use it for sandwiches, by itself with just cucumbers and or chips, pita chips, whatever. I can use it straight out of the container with a spoon. Yeah, that can happen too. So, that's good to go. Our chicken is cooking, and when it's done, we will take it out, let it rest for about 5 to 8 minutes, and then we're done. Be right back. Well, the microphone got me again, everybody, but here we are. We made it to the end. We got 9 dishes prepared. So I'm going to start pointing, but I'm just going to tick them off as we go here. We got all the cowboy beans done, huge pot of that. We got the breakfast burritos done, enough for a week and then some. We got the guacamole done, which turned out beautiful. We got the cheesy chicken and rice casserole done. We got roasted broccoli done, the roasted red potatoes and rosemary done, the tzatziki sauce with our cucumber rounds. We got taco casserole done, and we got chicken done, roasted chicken. Beautiful stuff, too. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I always enjoy having you around. Please consider liking and subscribing. You're what makes this channel great. I love you guys, and I will be seeing you on the next one, and take care of yourself. I love you guys. And have a good one. Bye-bye.